So good morning everyone, boys and girls, and welcome in to another day. So we have two more videos, which one of them is today and the last one is tomorrow, which is our going home day. So today we are heading, for at least the first part of this video, we are heading off to a scenic train. So I will catch up with you guys when we get to the train.
If you have littles with you, please hold their hands. There is no running or jumping on the platform or the gravel or the train. So like I say again, parents, please hold your children's hands. Now, you'll find...
So I've made it onto the train, and we have just about 5 minutes before we are about to go. So I will catch up with you guys in about 5 minutes. And just on time, as the train was supposed to leave right at noon, and it left right at noon. So let's enjoy the ride.
Good afternoon and welcome aboard the Branson Scenic Railway. My name is Liam and I'm going to be your narrator for our trip today. I'll be pointing out areas on the east and west sides of the train as we go along. So to help you get your bearings, the east side of the train is assigned to Bass Pro Shops and all. We want to remind you that there is no smoking or alcohol allowed on board. There are restrooms on board, and a concession car which serves cold drinks, chips, candy, and other selected snacks. Please ask your nearest train attendant for those details. Please use caution when moving through the cars, giving one hand for yourself and one hand on those handrails, as the train will rock side to side. There is no running on board, and please do not linger between the cars on the platforms, and watch your step. In the event of an emergency, we ask that you please remain seated and listen to our instructions. Fire extinguishers and first aid kits are available in each car. Please let any crew member know if you have any questions or need any support during the ride. Thank you, and welcome aboard the Branson Scenic Railway. Down on our southbound excursion today, and this is going to be the town of Hollister, Missouri. It was once known as the English village of the Ozarks, due to its old English-style architecture, which you will see over on the east side of the train along historic Downing Street. And then over on the west side of the train, you will see the Hollister City Hall and the old Missouri Pacific Hollister Depot that was built here in 1910.
Wow, so we're in our town.
It's named for those wild turkeys that roam these hills. You're also apt to see ducks, geese, turtles, river otters, and blue herons along the creek. You might see other wildlife along our journey today, such as white-tailed deer, coyotes, foxes, or maybe even a bobcat, or possibly even a black bear that wandered in from the woods. In the hills ahead, you may see a red-tailed hawk, or perhaps an American bald eagle soaring high above the train. But more than likely, you're probably going to see a turkey buzzard or two. Yes, these turkey buzzards are very common all over the Ozarks. They're a large black bird with a wingspan of nearly 6 feet. Now, they aren't so pretty to look at up close, of course, but you do have to admit, they are quite beautiful as they soar through the hills and the valleys of the Ozarks. We'll begin climbing a long hill known as Starp's Grade. This grade is 8 miles long with an average gradient of just over 1%, making it quite the challenge for heavy freight trains that use these tracks every day. A little bit about the history of this railroad. Now, when this rail line was first built, it was called the White River Line and was constructed between 1901 and 1906. It took more than 5,000 men and nearly $12.5 million to build the 239 miles of track between Carthage, Missouri and Newport, Arkansas.
I had no idea.
The building of this mountainous section was a major part of that project. The men had to tunnel through 5 different mountains and build 284 wooden trestles crossing the valleys. They also built more than a dozen high bridges crossing these Ozark rivers and streams. So the cost of building these mountainous sections was around $100,000 per rail mile.
Wow.
Which is about 4 to 6 times the cost to build the other sections, certainly making this a first-class railroad. These tracks were owned and operated by the Missouri Pacific Railroad up until 1986, when they completed their merger with the Union Pacific Railroad. Then, 6 years later, in 1992, the Union Pacific granted a permanent lease to the Missouri and Northern Arkansas Railroad, and we continue to use their tracks and engineers to operate our excursions. Now, we certainly are proud of our engineers and the fine professional job that they
you should
do.
be. That's tough work.
We have a locomotive at each end of our train, and both were built by the General Motors Electromotive Division for the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. All of our vintage passenger cars were built by the Budd Company of Pennsylvania in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, and all are owned by the Branson Scenic Railway today. The locomotive at the front of our train and in our current direction of travel, and that's going to be our locomotive number 99. It's a 1963 model GP30M with 16 cylinders, producing 2,000 horsepower and weighing in at a whopping 300,000 pounds. It was rebuilt in 1982 and was used in the freight service for the B&O and CSX railroads until 1994. It was then purchased by the Branson Scenic Railway in 1995. We had it repainted in 1999 and appropriately renumbered it, our locomotive number 99. Right behind that is going to be our power car, which is being used to generate electricity for the lights and air conditioning on the train. And now, we have our first vintage rail car, and that's going to be the Silver Eagle. It was built in 1949 for the Texas and Pacific Railroad. Now, this coach has 60 reclining seats, and it spent time in the Indiana Transportation Museum before being restored and leased to Amtrak. The Silver Eagle was finally purchased by the Branson Scenic Railway in April of 2001. Our next car in line is going to be the Silver Garden, and that's the car I'm currently speaking from. It's a dome buffet lounge car built for the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad in 1952. It was part of the original order to equip the Kansas City and American Royal Zephyr trains for the CB&Q, and it worked on those trains until the birth of Amtrak in 1971. Now, that's when the majority of America's passenger services were turned over to Amtrak.
That's a good picture of that.
Next up is going to be one of our newest additions, and that's going to be the Silver Bell. This 48-seat dining car was built in 1949 for the Southern Railway, and it worked on their flagship passenger trains like the Crescent, Southerner, and the Tennessean. It later worked for Amtrak on the Southern Crescent before being purchased by the Branson Scenic Railway in 2019, after Amtrak had retired its heritage fleet. Next up is the Silver Terrace. It was built in 1952 as a Vista, Dome, Parlor, and Observation car for the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad. It was built in the same order and operated on the same trains as the Silver Garden for almost 20 years before operating on Amtrak. It was later purchased by the Branson Scenic Railway in 1998 by a private owner. It was completely renovated and it joined our Ozark Zephyr fleet in December of 2001.
And this is actually really interesting.
Now we have the Silver Chef. This beautiful 48-seat dining car was built in 1956 for the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad. It was used on the Denver Zephyr and later worked for Amtrak on the San Francisco Zephyr until joining the Branson Scenic Railway in 1995. It's now also used on the Saturday evening
Yeah, I got
trains
this
as
a
our
very
kitchen
good
car.
thumbnail, like right here.
Our next car in our consist is going to be the Silver Island Dome and Lounge Car. It was built in 1947 for the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad. This dome car was delivered in a set for the Twin Cities Zephyr,
And
but
yes,
was
after
also
this
used
I
on
am
other
going
trains
down
for the CB&Q until the birth of Amtrak.
to the snack item.
And
Sorry,
finally,
snack car.
the locomotive at the other end of our train is going to be our locomotive number 98. When it was built in 1951, it was designated as a Model F7A, specifically for use on passenger trains. At that time, it had a 16-cylinder engine producing 1,500 horsepower and weighing in at 250,000 pounds.
It'd be nice if it's like a
In
little
1981, it was sold to the Mark Commuter Service in
Wouldn't that be
Maryland,
nice?
where they had it rebuilt into a Model F928, bumping its total horsepower to 1,800. It then joined our Ozark Zebra fleet in 1995 and was again rebuilt in 1998, at which time it was appropriately renumbered Branson's famous locomotive, number 98. So the train, if you're sitting down, it should be around eye level, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. Although, if you do blink, you might miss it. On this tunnel used steam drills and dynamite inside the mountain. The crews worked from both ends, digging towards the metal while clearing about 5 to 10 feet of rock per day. But even after adding a night shift, it still took them nearly 2 years to complete the 3,485-foot-long crest tunnel. With a length approaching 2/3 of a mile, that makes it the longest tunnel in the state of Arkansas. And probably also the darkest.
And this is cool. And the tunnel. That's it. Right at the end of the tunnel.
And as we exit the crest tunnel, we arrive at the top of Tharp's Grade. This area just outside the tunnel is called the Davis Curves. They are a series of S-shaped curves taking us around the side of this mountain and deeper into the heart of Arkansas. There also used to be a long side track over on the west side of the train called the Davis Siding. In the early 1980s, the Missouri Pacific Railroad blasted away the hillside to make room for this siding. Over a mile long, it provided room for coal trains to pass one another. However, when the Union Pacific Railroad took over in the early 1990s, they deemed the siding unnecessary and promptly removed it. Today, the only thing that remains of the Davis siding is the rock ballast showing where the tracks would have been. Also means you folks might want to get your cameras ready. Now this trestle is quite historic as it marks the completion of this railroad. On a cold winter's day on December 29th, 1905, the last spike was driven in up here joining the tracks from the north and the south. They had originally built it as a wooden trestle, but it was later rebuilt as a steel trestle nearly 100 years ago in 1933. And now you folks will soon be 113 feet high above the Little Walnut Creek. This will be a good photo opportunity for those of you on the lower levels and on the east side of the train. You may be able to capture a couple of pictures of both ends of our train as it crosses this curved trestle. And here we are, folks.
You see it? Yeah, we're on it.
Our entire trip. Up ahead is going to be the Barren Fork Trestle, and we will soon be 122 feet high above the Barren Fork branch of Bear Creek. This will provide amazing views on both sides of the train. And we won't be coming to a stop on this trestle, so we would like to ask everyone to please remain seated at this time. And here we are. Welcome to the Barren Fork Trestle.
I'm guessing now we're going to start heading back.
Now, like I said, we will be coming to a stop here on this trestle because this is going to be our return point back to Branson.
E-I-E-I-O.
With a moo-moo here and a moo-moo there. Here, moo, there, moo, everywhere. Moo-moo, oh, make fun.
Have fun. E-I-E-I-O.
All right. That was good. All day long day. You know that one? I'm working on the railroad just to pass the time away. Can't hear the whistle blowing so early and more.
I'm not.
I don't know what's to this one.
Dying to blow your horn. Dying to blow your blow. Dying to blow your horn. All right. How about that when you're outside your door? I hate to wake you up to say goodbye, but the dawn is breaking. It's early morn. Taxi's waiting. He's blowing his horn. Already, I'm so lonesome I could cry. Now you can sing along if you know this one. So kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you're waiting for me.
What?
Hold me like you'll never let me go. 'Cause I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again. Oh, babe, I hate to go. You waiting on me? Okay, give me about 2 hours, okay? I'm just teasing. I don't have that time. Just teasing. Alrighty. How about this one? Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, flowing like a breeze. Country road,
Road, take me home
there you
to the place I belong. Pennsylvania, mountain mama, take me home. Country road.
I hear her voice in the morning as she calls me. Radio reminds me of my home far away. Driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday. Country
Road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country road,
take me home.
home,
Them country
road. Always sunshine, you make me happy when skies are gray. You know how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
gotta learn that one. You're gonna be a music teacher. Yeah, that's good. Alrighty. Do we have any Willie Nelson fans here? Like Willie Nelson at all?
Willie Nelson, yeah.
You do? Okay. How about this one? This is kind of a good sing-along song. On the road again.
Again,
Or a train track.
Just being with God.
Train track on the road
and again,
Life I love is making music
with my friends.
and I can't
Get
wait
ready to go on again.
On
The road again.
Seeing places that I've never been, making friends that I will never see
Again.
and I can't wait to get on the road again. On
The road again.
like a band of gypsies, we go down the highway.
Highway.
We're the best of friends. We like to do the things our way. Yes, our way.
Road again. You can wait to go back on the road again.
Life I love is
Is with my friends.
and I
Can't wait to go back on the road again.
and and I can't wait to go.
End of our trip, I promised to tell you a little bit more about how it became the Coldwater Lake. This small lake was built in 1913, and it really didn't do too much to stop the flooding of the White River. In the 1920s to the 1950s, floods did a lot of damage to downtown Branson and Hollister. For example, in the flood of 1945, our very own Branson Depot was almost completely submerged.
Wow.
Because of these floods, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers built Table Rock Dam just upstream, and Table Rock Lake completed filling in 1957. Today, it's a huge lake stretching over 80 miles with over 800 miles of shoreline. The water depth of the dam is around 250 feet, and it's that cold water drawn from the bottom of Table Rock Lake that creates Lake Taneycomo. Those releases keep the water temperature at around 40 to 50 degrees nearly all year round, which is the perfect temperature for swimming. If you happen to be a trout. Now, Lake Taneycomo is stocked with about 1 million trout annually, making it one of the best trout fishing lakes in America. We will be arriving back at the depot soon, and I would like to ask you to please return to your seat and remain seated as we come to a stop. Please also check your seating area and gather all of your belongings. You may dispose of any trash that you have collected in one of the waste receptacles as you exit the car. We will be deboarding using the same platform you used to get on the train. And finally, the depot gift shop will be open and has authentic Branson Scenic Railway merchandise, including hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, magnets, train-themed toys, and of course, souvenir coffee cups to hold your daily cup of joe. Once again, thank you for riding with us today. We hope you enjoyed the trip with us on the Branson Scenic Railway.
It's time for another Nick's Food Review. Alright, so for lunch, we are trying the shepherd's pie with, looks like some chips. Oh yeah, let's dive into the shepherd's pie. Creamy mashed potatoes, tender beef, sweet peas, everything you want in a classic comfort dish. This one's got that homemade feel like Grandma's kitchen magic. The mashed potatoes, rich, buttery, and silky smooth. Pure comfort on a plate. The beef, cooked just right. Juicy and full of flavor, no shortcuts here. Now check out this garlic bread. Crispy on the outside, soft and loaded with garlic on the inside. Honestly, this garlic bread left me speechless. That's a sign of something special, and that's a winner right there. Man, is this a fantastic dish. Would definitely recommend. Thank you for watching, and hit the subscribe button for more videos like this.